Welcome learners. In this session, we will be understanding override keyword. Let's say you walk into an ice cream shop. There are different varieties of ice cream, let's say chocolate, strawberry and vanilla. What differs into them is the ingredients, however, the base ice cream remains the same. Override is kind of defining what ice cream variety or flavor you are looking for. In this case, when you're trying to override, which means a simple ice cream is overridden by the chocolate in it and hence it becomes a chocolate ice cream. More upon, in this session, we'll try to understand the override keyword and mixins. Mixins is a form of code which can help you establish a lot of code juggling to be kept at a central place. Imagine when you're trying to create an app and you use databases. Let's say you have 5 screens into your app. Now there is a field called as username and you would want the username to be there on all the 5 screens. Hence, you're not going to write the code 5 different times but only once and then try to retrieve the code from that particular class. How we can exactly achieve this feature, what goes behind creating a mixin, with a very simple example I'm going to explain in this video. So tune in. Let's dive into the session wherein over here, when it comes to the display details, we understand that it's kind of printing the name and the age. However, it's not printing the degree of education when it comes to my student class. Hence, what I'll try and do, put over here display details and then at the rate override. So basically what I'm trying to say is this exact same function even exists at the parent class for person. However, I don't want to use the person display details and in fact I want to use student details are name, in which I'll be printing the name, age, in which I shall print the student age, and the degree in academics. Now look over here, I'm not even changing even a line of code on my main function and then try to click the run button. What do you notice is now the student details or the display details from the student class is being printed. Well, this kind of signifies that the parent function has been overridden by the child. Now, in same way, let's go about completing the next two classes in my hierarchy. Let's see. We have our class to be professional and that would obviously extend the person class. So here we are creating two variable professional name, or let's say employee name and employee age. Now when it comes to professional, he would be having an area of expertise. So let me put an area of expertise. So here we have three variables. Now I'm going to create my constructor. What I would want your attention is exactly the name of the class I'm going to put in the constructor, and I'll say it's required this dot employee age, required this dot employee name. I think I added an extra E. Let's move to the next part, that is this dot area of expertise. Now, like you see in the last time, because we did not use the super keyword, hence it kept on throwing an error. Let me remove the error. Yeah, so this basically removes all the things from the professional, and I'll copy the exact same thing and put on the athlete. So over here, athlete age, athlete name, and I'll put sports name. I'll copy age, name, and then I'll quickly copy the sports name. Yeah, so this had the exact same steps which I have tried to do even on the student and professional and athlete. So basically this diagram, which kind of had every arrows originating from the person and terminating on different classes, I'm able to accomplish that. Well, what I would now want to do is, let's say if there is an athlete, so it's going to be very obvious that because he's an athlete, he would be kind of doing some kind of an exercise. So let's see how we can have a common functionality that we can implement with this class and also with this class. In that case, let's try understanding what's a mixin. So let's say over here we create something like an exercise. Let's say void running, string person name. So I'll put over here print person name does running as an exercise. And let's see, I'll copy this entire thing and put one more function as holding breath, and I'll put number of seconds. Well, this guy can hold his breath for these many number of seconds. Well, what exactly is this mixin? Now, it can be a case that athlete is surely doing exercise. Oh, I misspelled it. Now, it can also be a case that me or everyone else can do exercise. So look at the benefit of having a mixin. I wrote the code for this two exercises at one single mixin. Let's say we jump over here and create an object for athlete 1, and I'll put the athlete age to be 30, athlete name to be Avitaj, and the sports name to be swimming. Now what I can try and do, number one, I can use this athlete 1. Wait, let me just create a bit amount of space at the bottom. Yeah, and then just try to display the details. Following which, do you see these two functions? Now because my friend Avitaj, he does swimming, so I'll put over here athlete 1 dot holding breath and I'll put over here 45. Now when I try to run my code, just notice the difference. So it says person has a name as Avitaj and age 30. Well, this guy can hold his breath for 45 seconds. Now what I'll try and quickly show it to you is the same mixin along with running can be used in professional or it cannot be. So here we are creating an object for my professional class. So I'll put over here employee age, employee name, employee age, let's say 34, employee name as Sushant, and your sports name, my mistake, area of expertise as a product manager. Now what I can do is, with the help of my professional 1, I can surely just try calling the running function. Now look over here, running requires a person name. So what I'll try and do is, using this variable, I will try to get the person name, and what do you notice? Person Sushant does running as an exercise. How does it get? Because over here, once I create the object for the professional 1, I added the employee name to be Sushant, and that's exactly how even in the mixin I'm able to create that person name variable and use over here and call this function. But this is kind of beneficial because this piece of code I'm just not combining with athlete but also with the help of professional. This could be very beneficial. Let's imagine a scenario where your app is doing a lot of connectivity with the server and you frequently have to keep on monitoring whether the device has an active internet connection or not. If yes, so you'll probably go to the server and fetch the details. If your device does not have an active internet connection, then you will show an error. Now let's say you have 5 different screens. Creating a mixin which checks the internet connectivity on all the screens can be helpful. That's because you'll show the same error message over and over again. In this way, when we dive into more practical approach, I'm going to show to you how this mixin can actually be beneficial. Hopefully the entire demonstration wherein you have learned about mixins and the override keyword will help you becoming a good Flutter developer. In fact, in my professional experience, I try to create many components as mixins and I can club that into any particular class to have my code to be running. In same way, I'm going to teach to you how you can adhere to good practices and in fact write even better code. Hence, I decided to go with a bit amount of basics into Dart. Over the next 2-3 videos, I'm going to teach to you conditions, loops, and small examples for Dart programming that can help you even if you are an absolute beginner. So stay tuned and keep learning with Hoping Minds.